Let me ask you this: if
Trump is a huge golden thorn in the side.
If Hillary won, do you think there would even be a COVID-19?
There wouldn't have been a need for it because she probably would have already wrecked the fucking economy and had us more in debt instead of it booming like Trump had it. Right. You know what I mean? Like,
and surprisingly,
the last thing that Trump wanted to happen was for his fucking economy to shut down.
You know what's funny and surprising is that even with all these protests with the COVID-19, if you use the stock market as an indicator of how well the economy is doing, the stock market took a tiny bump in March, and it's going right back up to where it was. It's almost. Yeah.
It's stock market hasn't been hurt at all.
No.
What was I heard somewhere, a stock market is a good representation of rich people's feelings.
Right. Yeah. I was asking Mike.
Speculators and whatnot.
I was asking Mike. Well, I want to see what you think. If Hillary Clinton had won the election, do you think that there would even be a quarantine right now?
No, I think all this stuff would be,
which would lead us to believe that this thing was orchestrated.
Yeah,
completely orchestrated.
What I believe would have happened if she got elected is there wouldn't be this need for deep state subversion tactics going on.
Because she is the deep state. She would have been in.
Yeah. So she was already doing all the stuff during the Obama administration.
Donald Trump winning in 2016 prevented a witch, an evil fucking satanic witch, from becoming president or leader of the free world.
I'm ready for that fucking court.
Yeah,
she got an appointment.
Speaking of old world or I guess not even old world, but past and stuff like that, I wanted to touch on this as well because I thought this was pretty interesting in regards to COVID. So we've been hearing, as Mike brought up earlier, correlations with the flu. So in particular, this is about the flu epidemic, Spanish flu of 1918, right?
Racist.
Here's a good counter. I know you're being facetious. Here's a good counter for it. Last time I checked, Spain was a nation and not a race. So that's a nationality.
Yep. Got you. You got me there.
Yeah.
You got each other. Let's move on. Good deal.
So 50 million deaths in 1918 and 1919 from the Spanish flu epidemic.
I'm sorry. You say that number again. I was making a joke. I wasn't even listening.
50 million.
50 million.
Yeah. Dead in 1918 and early 1919.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a shitload, a lot. So I started looking into this. There's a lot of things that add into the data that don't exactly add up. So one of the things I want to address is the U.S. Public Health Service via the Boston Health Department. So they in 1918 they ran these experiments. What they did, they took a group of sick people and 100 people that were not sick and were quite healthy, right? So they ran 3 experiments. The first experiment was they had the sick people cough and sneeze and get mucus and all this phlegmy stuff. And they collected it.
Phlegm.
Just spit in my mouth.
Well, interestingly enough, so the first experiment, they took this phlegm and they shot it into the nose, throat, and eyes of the 100 healthy people.
Science.
Yeah. Here's the interesting thing. Nobody became ill out of the test subject group.
Whoa.
100 people. None of them contracted influenza.
What the hell do you think that indicates?
So let's keep unpacking.
It kind of implies that germ theory is wrong.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So the second experiment they ran, they did the same thing. They got, mucus and all this nasty shit from the sick people, and they injected it into the bloodstream of the 100 healthy people. Not one of them got sick again.
Not a single one.
Not one. They also, because they didn't think it was right, so they started experimenting on sick horses and trying to get other horses sick using the same tactics. Didn't work. No horses got sick either.
What?
This is 1918 Boston Health Department. So the third experiment, they thought that, okay, well, maybe it's a more casual contact that's spreading it. So what they did, they placed... Interestingly enough, while you make the make-out noises, Jesus Christ. So what they did, they sat a sick and a healthy person uncomfortably close, face to face, and they had they set up their breathing so when the healthy person exhales, the sick person inhales, and vice versa. So they had somebody like right here, pretty much breathing.
Germaphobes are losing their fucking mind right now.
And from that experiment, though, no, the same thing happened. Nobody got sick.
What the fuck?
All 3 of these experiments happened, and nobody got sick.
I don't think about that. I think about like there's this bridge whenever you're going to New Orleans, and it's like 10 miles long, and I'm just thinking like, what asshole said like, we're doing a bridge. We're doing a bridge.
How
far? Across the whole thing. Across the whole thing? Like, if it was up to me, I would have just said, there's water here. Like, we have to walk around. It takes like a legendary asshole to say,
let's go under it.
You effectively just made an argument against building bridges.
I literally think that when I'm driving on the bridge. Like, what an asshole.
I'm not saying it's a bad argument. I'm just saying I've never heard anybody approach it quite like that.
It's a
before.
long bridge, and it seems rather conceited that it would work, but it worked. I mean, you can drive
I know
all
exactly.
the way. You could drive across water, and it's just like, yeah, this bridge is still going. Here we go.
I know the bridge you're talking about. Hang on.
I think the same thing. You know, if you take I-75 up and you go through Tennessee, Kentucky, and you're like driving through mountains that they just exploded because they needed this road to go through it, and it
Lake Pontchartrain. It's in Louisiana. Holy cow!
It's not when you're crossing the Mississippi.
It's this guy right here.
Yep. I would have just said, let's go around. Just go around it.
That was somebody getting paid. Somebody owed somebody money, and they're like, "How about you build this bridge? Like, I'll make your company build this bridge."
And well, there is another bridge at the it looks like the eastern end of the lake, right? At the western end of the lake, there is another lake. So, but it looks like there's also another road that cuts on the western side. So it looks like they already had the means to go around, and then some asshole did come in and was just like, you know what? I bet you I can get from here to there.
I'm literally thinking that when I'm driving over. I'm like, what an asshole. Like, we couldn't, like, why do we
I don't
have
think
to...
I've ever went over that. Like, whenever you were describing it, I pictured whenever you crossed the Mississippi, and so
It's 10 minutes. I swear, it's 10 minutes drive across this I don't know.
It's a big old pond. It's a big pond.
So Zane, now that you're into bikes, speaking of big bridges, next time you're near Jekyll Island, you need to ride over that bridge.
I want to.
Oh man!
So
The entry bridge to
I
Jekyll
did
Island?
it on a No, it's actually the bridge from Jekyll Island to Brunswick.
Oh, that big mother! Holy cow!
I rode that
dude.
on a fixed gear, like
Fuck
back
that!
when I was like,
I'm doing
piss and vinegar on a fixed gear with a very high ratio gear. So like whenever you ride a fixed gear, there's like the people that like the slow push where you like pedal slow, and it's like you can go really fast if you're willing to crank it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some people that ride a high gear, which means you'd rather just pedal the shit out of it to go as fast as you could. And so it was really great for like sprinting and stuff. So in Valdosta, I was working for this courier company that was here. And so I was like, all right, I'm getting from point A to B, like zippity dippity hoppity hoo. Like, went and rode it over that bridge. And I was like, this is a great idea because climbing the bridge, I'm going to be like going. And I was riding.
Don't tell me. I'm going to do it soon.
Well, you're not. Are you going to do it on fixed gear?
No.
You should. Take that white bike.
What else would you do it on? Like, I wouldn't want to go too slow over that thing.
Well, on a road bike where you can coast. Like, this is a fixed gear means that the back wheel and the crank are moving consecutively. There's no coasting. It is locked into place. So whatever the back wheel is doing, your cranks are communicating. So if you're pushing hard, the back wheel's pushing hard. And what it does is it makes you learn momentum, like to where you can keep it. And so like it's great for on a straightaway. You can usually go a lot faster because you're conserving momentum because you're not giving it away by coasting.
I got you.
But on a bridge.
Going down a fucking bridge that's steep as shit, I sped to a point where like my feet were going too fast and I just pulled them out and I put them in the center of the bike and I'm riding down it and I went from like being behind the cars to catching up to the cars to passing the cars on the side. But it's like the speed limit's 55. Like, what the fuck am I doing? It was like one of those points in my life where I was just like, oh, if I crash, I'm dead.
I'd read, you remember Golden Books?
Yes.
Like the children's books?
I loved those.
Likewise, like the artwork that was in them.
I collect, so I'm not a parent, but I collect like the gold books and I collect like children's books for the one day I will ever have a child so I can read to them. Yeah,
I'm glad you're going to do that instead of sacrificing it to Moloch because that's a bad
well,
thing.
the first child is going. So I'm talking about the second one. I already promised the first one. So,
at least you're a man of your word, you know.
at least I'll get my soul back.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
Silver lining. Sucks for that kid, though.
They won't know the difference.
That's true. It's so terrible. I have given thought to. I was talking with my friend Amber about it. About like I've decided that if I ever do end up having a son, that I am not going to circumcise that kid. I do not want.
I 110% agree with you.
That's what's up.
Like, it's
aside from it being a violation. Aside from that.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
Like it's like there is some sort of trauma that is dealt to the child. Like.
Yeah, and they're like, oh no, they'll be fine. They won't remember it.
Yeah.
No, like you're cutting off a piece of someone's body without their permission. Like if they, I don't know, if they're like 18, 19 and they're like, yeah, I want to get circumcised.
Oh, no doubt. I've
good.
had buddies of mine that like they've either put their dick into things that they shouldn't put it into and end up getting sick, or just from like the way of how they age where they've elected to get circumcised.
Yeah.
Like as post-pubescent men.
But circumcision for baby, no, absolutely not. That's awful.
Yeah, well, and like some, like, depending on I guess how fundamental their circumcision is, but I mean,
It's not even
some
medically
brisses,
necessary.
they'll cut and then they'll suck the baby's blood.
I've seen that.
Like that's
Oh,
fucking
God.
pedophilic, and like, so not only is it bad as far as like you're violating them, but then like
the priest is like putting their lips on your baby's penis. Like,
yeah,
it's just.
and then sucking out adrenalized blood is fucking
Yeah.
adrenochrome, man. Like that's fucking awful. So I mean, all of that taking into consideration, I've decided that if I ever have sons, that I'm leaving their little little miserable cocks intact, and they can decide what to do with them as
At a
they
later
see fit.
date.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and plus a lot of there's a lot of myths out there like, oh, it's cleaner. It's not cleaner. You know, it's not. There's no. I don't know. There's no benefits to it. You know. So there's that. All that to say.
The do you know that the guy who invented cornflakes, why he invented cornflakes?
Oh my gosh! Tell me.
Seriously. He did it so dudes would stop jacking off. Like the guy who invented cornflakes was, I want to say a Calvinist. He may not have been, but he was a religious like nut, nonetheless. And he thought that the more people eat of like protein, meat, and beasts, that the hornier that they'll get, and that if the more you masturbate, you know, it's
Spilling the seed.
yeah. There's that whole passage of the Bible about it. So he came up with cornflakes as a deterrent to fill your tummies and keep your dick out of your hands at the same time. He also promoted circumcision in the West for similar reasons. That it would keep men from jacking off.
God, that failed.
But the truth is, there's a large group of people, I think, that aren't protesting. We're going to work. We're driving semis. We're digging ditches. We're doing hard labor. There's a large group of people that has yet to stand up, and I think that's when that's the sleeping giant we don't want to wake up.
I totally agree with that.
Okay,
I
I think I made my point and skirted the edge very well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've said before on this show that the reason why I like living in the South is because Big Brother knows everybody's packing fucking heat down here. So like you don't see much civil unrest happening in towns because everybody knows that like, hey, like we don't want violence. Everybody's prepared for violence, but nobody wants violence. So that like order is not a bad thing. It can be a bad thing, but you what you don't want is just lawlessness and chaos. Like that's really, really bad.
Yeah, we had an episode in Thomasville where I live. We had an officer-involved shooting, and right at the time, the Black Lives Matter thing was kind of stepping up.
Like 2014, 2015.
Yeah, 16 is. Let's see, I was working in Perry at the time, so 2016.
Yeah.
And so a group came down from Atlanta and marched down Broad Street. Some of the businesses on Broad Street shut down early, and they did their march at 6:00. I don't remember how many people marched. I don't want to call them protesters. Mm-hmm. They were marching in protest, okay, but they didn't protest in the sense of what I think of. I think of protest as people throwing bottles and rocks and acting like hoodlums and rioting. That's what I think of a protest. These guys, these men and women came down and they marched down the street. They were armed. Mm. Nobody cared. No. I wasn't offended or afraid. They weren't there to fight me. They weren't there to fight against my culture, my religion. They were there in protest and solidarity to a cause. Yeah. And I think we applaud that.
Well, there was the protest in Virginia against Ralph Northam. Ralph Northam's the governor of Virginia.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And
I vaguely remember this.
This a few months ago. It may have been pre-Corona. I'm not sure.
Everything is pre-Corona because ain't shit happened since Corona. We should have some Coronas.
But they protested. There was a gun law he was trying to enact, and you had about 2,200 citizens armed to the fucking teeth go to the Capitol. All denominations. You had like people with signs as well that were displaying their identity politics group and still showing that like basically their identity politics doesn't matter, that like this is a cause that everybody should take a look at. And I think that it was definitely pre-Minneapolis. I know that. And I think the reason why shit didn't get out of hand in other cities that they were protesting on for whatever grievances they had is because in Richmond, I think that's the capital of Virginia, everybody was fucking packing heat. Everybody was packing heat. And in Michigan as well, when they protested, I know that you had the photos of people, like white people screaming inside of like the Capitol building. Outside, oh no, you had a bunch of people, different races, armed to the T, outside. That's why nothing got out of control, is because what are the cops going to do against a bunch of people that are packing like AR-14s and fucking like? They're not there, like you said. They're not there to bring violence to anybody. They're there to show that, like, look, we're here to peacekeep. That's the way sheriffs used to be before the police state and the Reconstruction era took over. You had the sheriffs show up at public events packing fucking heat to be like, hey, y'all don't get out of line. Have a good time, but nobody's going to get out of line here. We'll cut you down. we need stuff like that to display publicly that a community that will get behind a group or a law enforcement to say, if you cause chaos and bring havoc to people, we will cut you down. But we don't have that with our police state anymore.
Glad you were set up for that.
Prepared.
Well, I mean, I yes. But anyway, so like I'm trying to like
Not to make assumptions, but
well, I was on my way out. I needed to like go like pee like it's next morning, right? And I said like something, and I went to go make a joke and like went to go toot, fart, and I
Shit yourself?
dude, I shat
Oh
hard.
my god!
Hard.
Ugh. Like standing up?
Like,
or in the bed?
Like no, I was standing up like about to exit.
Oh my god!
But because this
Oh,
my
sick.
drafting table was a partition there, she didn't know what happened. So
You ran off?
No, I slyly just slid off my soiled pants.
Ew!
And then-
Colter! Oh
and
my
then-
god!
I was able to
shower.
grab another pair so I could throw those away and then showered real quick.
Oh my god!
Threw another pair on. I didn't see her for like 2 years later, and I had to like apologize to her because I was like.
Oh,
Like,
she was
just-
like, that wasn't it. That
I was
wasn't it.
like, no, it was something unrelated that I was just oafish about. I was like, hey, like I was being a douchebag, like
Yeah.
when I was at this. I was like, but if it makes you feel better,
I shit my way.
shit my-
whenever you stayed over this one night,
Oh my
I
God.
shat my pants.
Oh my
That's-
god!
so if you're a girl ever on a one night stand,
she said that it did make her feel a little bit better though.
Oh, she knew about it at the time. Of
No,
course.
no, she did not. No, whenever I told her that I apologized to her, it was later. I was like, but if it makes you feel better, that like I shat my pants on the night you.
Yeah, that's
stayed
what makes
over.
me feel better.
It did because it.
I mean, I'm.
it was
yeah.
my humiliation,
Woo!
and she was
Oh
like,
my
she's like,
gosh.
oh,
Yeah.
you just gotta keep it real, man.
That's right.
Everybody has shat themselves at one point.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
everyone shit their pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even as adults,
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
adult
Yeah.
has shat
I
themselves.
don't care who you are.
I
you
tried to
probably-
make it up the stairs at my old apartment one time. I couldn't make it. I was bad in a Chrome Slayer and I couldn't fucking make it. And it just, like, literally, I couldn't help it. Like, I didn't even try it. Just, fell out.
Yeah.
If you think it's a
It
fart,
just fell the fuck out. No, I wasn't even trying to fart. I was just sick. So I have an excuse. Unlike you fucks.
I've had it before when I'm sick where I'll sneeze.
and it comes,
Yeah, like
when you're
I
on
was
the
at-
highway and you're driving home in traffic
Oh,
and you're like,
shut
God damn
up.
it, and you sneeze and you shit your pants, and you're like,
Yeah.
fuck,
What?
But-
What?
I can't make it home. I just shit my pants.
Well, if you shit your pants, what do you need to go home for?
to throw it out.
What the
Yeah,
fuck?
take a shower and wash your ass.
This is my life now. Just gonna sit here in shit-stained pants.
I mean, like, but like, what?
Oh, woe is me.
I've never
I
shit.
could not fucking handle, bro. I mean, but he's like, why hurry? Oh, I can't make it. There's no making it. You shit your pants already.
Yeah, you already did it, so you gotta get home. Change your pants. Take a shower.
Oh my
Wash your
god.
ass.
Oh my god.
Hey, gang, I know I'm driving here, and we're rolling 6 deep in this
I
minivan.
can't.
But I just shit
But
myself.
I just shit my pants. But I really want to make it to this Modest Mouse concert on time.
No.
So we
fucking
really, I just look. I'll roll a window down, Craig. I'll roll it down.
Light your American spirit. We're rolling the window down.
By the
God
way,
damn
there's,
it.
there's a rest stop at 3 miles. I'm gonna 89 these
I'm
pants.
sure
Okay.
they have a vending machine. I'll get pants there. Jesus.
I can't. I'm just gonna. That was before Corona, so you could do things like that.
You
You can't just shit your pants nowadays.
does anybody just get sick?
No.
You're not allowed to be sick
You
anymore.
either die and you got Rona, or you're sick and you got Rona, and you Rona.
It's like, oh gosh, I've just been
You can't
kind
even
of,
shit yourself on the highway.
You can't even break a leg without getting Rona.
I've just been kind of down in the dumps and depressed since I shat my pants on the highway. Well, hate to be the bearer of bad news. That sounds like COVID-19.